It's probably one of my most prized possessions, and I might bury myself in it. I'm Jenna Lyons, and we're in my house, and we're going to go through some of my objects of affection. You've probably been here before. If you haven't, welcome. I think this entire apartment was the first time in my life that I got to do exactly what I wanted. I'd always had some restrictions. I'd always sort of been working with constraints, whether it be my job or even my own personal situation. And yeah, I wanted something special. I wanted this to be like my apartment, not my like transitional apartment, but like my apartment. And so I kind of went for it. Okay, this is something I've really never seen before. It is a Braille Playboy, and I can obviously see, but I think it's pretty remarkable. The stories in Playboy used to be so good that they would actually have them translated into Braille so that people could read the stories. You know, they had people like Truman Capote writing for Playboy, which I think is pretty interesting. It is a big topic of conversation. Everyone who comes over picks it up, and it's by far one of my favorite gifts. This little guy is another one of my favorite things. This is a gift that I got from my team when I was at J. Crew, probably, 10 years ago. It's a crown of J's. Like, who doesn't need their own crown of J's? These are also a special kind of sequin that you can't really find anymore. And then they've been sort of patinaed, my favorite thing. Someone thinks there's a bone in the bed, which I don't think there is. Anyway, I'm really into this thing. I do love it. And I like the fact that it has little tears hanging down. Next is a big one. I don't know if she needs an introduction. She's had a lot of exposure. It was my first time going to the Met Ball, and I was very excited. I left feathers all the way down the red carpet, which I feel badly for all the interns who are picking them up. I also wore it to Solange Knowles' wedding, and as I was walking into the church, she asked everyone to wear white. I normally would not wear white to a wedding. As I was walking into the church, there was a paparazzi snap my picture, and that picture has been seen across the world. I think that picture is more popular than I am. Anyway, it's all hand beaded and hand embroidered by a company called Chemisa. They did all the embroidery and beading for Oscar de la Renta, and they've worked with Chanel. It's some of the most delicate and fine beading you've ever seen. A lot of people have asked me if they can buy it or rent it for their wedding, to which I always say no. It's probably one of my most prized possessions, and I might bury myself in it. Okay, so this is one of my prized possessions. This is a sculpture my son Beckett made for me when he was 4. And I don't know why I love it so much, but I do. Here is a quarter on the bottom, and he glued a light bulb and a bunch of staples and a little toothbrush holder and a screw all together. And like, it just makes me happy. It reminds me of like an Arte Pauvre thing. I'm super into it. It's one of my favorite things. It's come with me through every move to every apartment. And one of my other favorite things that's on this wall, this is the Polaroid that Annie Leibovitz signed and gave to me in 2005. And I know that because I had just found out that I was pregnant with Beckett. I was in Vogue. I was in the shape issue, so I was the tall girl, and Annie Leibovitz shot me in my office, and she signed the Polaroid, and I have a print that she sent me as well. So another sort of surprise piece. This is from my senior project. I went to Parsons, and Donna Karen was my critic, and I was making this Duchess satin jacket, and she said to me at our critique, "Can you make it down-filled?" And I don't know if I can explain. I was, 19. I had no money, so I went to Bed Bath & Beyond, and I bought a comforter, and then I double-stitched it and pulled all the feathers out in between, and this is the end result. I just found this in my mom's house recently, and Look it still fits. Can you believe I made this thing? The one fail, I couldn't do pockets. I just didn't do it. I saw this when I was in Paris. It was in a little tiny vintage store and I fell in love with it. What I didn't realize at the time was the gentleman who owned the store had really never shipped anything of this scale and this weight, it weighs like 800 pounds, to the United States. And so I purchased it, and my office assistant, Kate and Nicole, repeatedly called it the turd lamp because it took literally 17 months to arrive. So instead of calling it the bird lamp, it became known as the turd lamp. I think it's unexpected. Like, you think this thing to be really delicate, particularly because it is a bird, and then you pick it up and it's like the weight of a hippopotamus. And I think that juxtaposition is kind of great. I also love the casualness of the way the cord isn't necessarily strung through the center. It's just kind of dangling on the side of it. And I love a cord. I'm not a big fan of hiding every single thing. I like knowing how it turns on. Makes me happy. Okay. This is one of my prized possessions. This is a French, I believe it's called an Empire table. It's got a French polish on it, which I think is unique. Also hard to find somebody to fix because I've gotten a few stains on it along the way. My son and I sit here and have breakfast very frequently, always with candles, even in the morning. And I don't know, it's just one of my favorite things, and I love the way it feels under your skin. It's got a polish, but it's not that lacquered finish that I think you see so often in furniture in the United States. Legs on a sink are sort of underexposed. Like, no one designs them beautifully. If you look at what's available in the market, they all look the same. Of course, I went a little over the top, but I do think it's an area that kind of hasn't really been vetted in terms of design and has more legs, no pun intended. All of these little details were actually in the drawing, and then after it was installed, I took a spray bottle with salt water, like literally salt water from the ocean, and sprayed it so it got this soft patina. You literally, anything like unlacquered brass, like my faucets, or anything, any metal, if you just spray salt water from the ocean, if you mix Epsom salt, it's a different thing, but if you use ocean salt water, it turns in like 24 hours. And here I did the test of the patina to see what would happen. So now you've seen all of my objects of affection, and there's the door.